Good morning, students. I am Dr.I.JANNATHUL FIRTHOUSE, Assistant Professor of Mathematics. I hope you all clearly understand another method of the transportation problem, Vogel'S method. In our previous video, you understood the method of least cost method. Now we are going to see the Vogel'S approximation method or VAM method. So, what I told you in the previous video, first of all, you have to check whether the problem is balanced or unbalanced. So, you have to check the demand and supply. So, demand is 950 and the supply is also 950. So, the problem is balanced. So, now we are proceeding the next step. So, step 1. First of all, you have to find the difference between two least number in each row and likewise the each column. So, what is the least number in the first row? So, 11 is the least element in first row and the next least element is what? 13 is the next least element. So, what is the difference between these two? So, 13 minus 11, 2. So, likewise, 10 minus 14, 14 minus 10, 4. 14 minus 10, 4. And another one, 13 minus 10. So, this is the least one, the next least 13. So, what is the difference? So, 3 is the difference between 10 and 13. Like what we did in the row, we same this way, we have to do it in the column likewise. So, 11 is the least, next least is the 16. What is the difference? 16 minus 11, 5. So, 18 minus 13, 5. So, 14 minus 13, 1. 10 minus 10, 0. So, what we did? In each row and each column, we find a difference between the least number and the next least number. So, step 1, we can do it. So, compare to the differences. Which one is the biggest difference? Which one is the highest difference? 2, 4, 3, 0, 1, 5, 5. So, which one is the biggest? 5 is the biggest, highest difference. So, we select anyone this 5 or that 5. So, I can select this one, first column. So, in this column, what is the least element in this column? So, 11 is the least element in this column. Okay. So, what is the row element? 250 is the row element and the 200 is the column element. So, we have to allocate 200. So, which one is the minimum? Minimum of 250 comma 200 is 200 and we have to subtract 250 minus 200, we got 50. Okay. So, eliminate the first column because of you are deleting the supply value 200. So, vanish the first column. Step 2. Again, we will follow the same way in step 2. So, what is the remaining element? 13, 17, 14, 18, 14, 10, 24, 13, 10, so 50, 300, 400. So, 225, 275, 250. So, 500, 750, 750. So, the balance is, problem is balanced. Now, we will find the same difference between the least element and the next least element in each row and each column. So, what is the least element in first row? 13 is the least element in first row and the 14 is the next least element in first row. So, what is the difference between 13 and 14? Obviously, 1 is the difference between 13 and 14. So, 14 minus 13 we are getting 1. So, what is the least element in second row? 10 is the least element in second row and 14 is the next least element in second row. So what is the difference between 10 and 14? So 4 is the difference between 10 and 14. So likewise the third row, what is the least element? 10 is the least element and the next least element is 13. So 13 minus 10, 3 is the difference. So in our first column, what is the difference between 18 and 13? Because 13 is the least element and 18 is the next least element. So what is the difference between 13 minus 18? We are getting 5. So likewise 13 and 14. What is the difference between 13 and 14? 1. Now here we are getting 0. So compare to all the differences both row wise and column wise. What is the highest difference? 5 is the highest difference. So we select that one. That is the first column of the step 2. And which one is the least element of the column? First column. Obviously 13 is the least element of the first column. So why we select the first column? Because of 5 is the highest ratio, highest difference of the highest difference among all these. So we select the first column and the least element is 13. So the row element is 50 and the column element is 225. So we have to allocate the minimum of 50, 225. The answer is 50. 50. And we have to subtract 225 minus 50. That is 175. And we have to delete the first row. Because the 50 is vanished. So the first row is entirely vanished. Now we move on to the step 3. So what is the remaining element? 18, 14, 10. 18, 14, 10 and 24, 13, 10. So 300, 400, 175, 275. So likewise we did it in the previous steps. What we did, what we have done, what we did 14 minus 10. That is the difference between the least element and the next least element is 4. 13 minus 10, 3. 18 minus 24, 6. 13 minus 14, 1 and 0. So compare to the differences row wise and the column wise. So we got 6. So 6 is the maximum difference. 6 is the highest difference among all these. So we select the first column. So what is the first column? 18 and 24. So which one is the least element among these two? 18 is the least element. So 18, the row element is 300 and the column element is 175. So which one is the minimum of 175 and 300? 175 is the minimum. So we have to allocate 175. So and subtract the 300 minus 175. That is 125. Okay. So and we eliminate the first column. Why we eliminate the first column? Because the 175 is to be vanished. So that's why we eliminate the first column. So now move on to the step 4. So 14, 10, 13, 10. So 125, 400, 275, 250. Okay. So likewise we did in the previous steps. So what is the difference between 10 and 14? 4. And 13 and 10? 3. 14 minus 1? 0. Which one is the highest maximum difference? 4 is the maximum difference. So we select the first row. So in first row, which one is the minimum element? 10 is the minimum element. So the row element is 125 and the column element is 250. So we have to allocate 125 among these two. So the minimum of 125 comma 250, and we have to subtract 250 minus 125. So remaining 125. Now we have to vanish the first row. Why? The 125 is to be vanished. So that's why the first row is deleted. Now move on to the step 5. Now move on to the step 5. So the remaining row, only one row is there, that is 13 and 10. Okay. The row element, the row demand is 400 and the column supply is 275 and 125. So among these, we are having only the one row. So no need to find the difference. So which one is the minimum element? We have to select that element only. So 10 is the minimum element. So we have to allocate 125 out of 400, remaining the 275. So we have to eliminate this one, and the step 6, we are getting 13, 275, 275. So we have to allocate 275. Now we will find initial basic feasible solution. Therefore, the initial basic feasible solution is, you have to multiply the allocated value into the cell value. Okay, that's it. In step 1, 200 into 11 plus step 2, 50 into 13. In step 3, 175 into 18. Step 4, 125 into 10. Step 5, 125 into 10. 13 into 275. The answer is 12,075. Okay, how to multiply and make it add. The answer is, the initial basic feasible solution is 12,075. Now we will see next example. Another one example of the same method, that is the WAM method. So in previous problem, what I told you, we have to check whether the problem is balanced or not balanced. So what is this is the 77 demand and the supply 28. So we need 49 for that side. Okay, we need 49. So we need 49 here. We add one more column. Okay, so 21, 16, 25, 0, 17, 18, 14, 0, 32, 27, 18, 0. So 6, 10, 12 and the 49. So you put in the 49, then only the problem is to be balanced. Otherwise the problem is not balanced, unbalanced. So 41. So now the 77 and 77. So what I told you in the earliest problem, previous problem, you have to find the least element in each row and the next least element in each row and find the difference and make the difference. Okay. So what is the least element in first row? 0 is the least element in the first row. So 0. And the next least element in first row, which one? Yes, obviously 16 is the next least element. So 16 minus 0. 16 minus 0, 16. 18 minus 0, 18. And 18 minus 0, 18. So what is the difference here? So least element is 17 and the next least element is 21. So 17 minus 21 we are getting 4. So what is the least element here? 16 and 18. 2. What is the least element here? 4. So obviously 0. So we compare all the differences in each row and each column. Which one is the maximum? 18 is the maximum difference. So we are getting 218. So we have to select anyone if you wish or if you want. Okay. So now I am select the second row. In second row, which is the minimum element? You have to see the minimum element only. So 17, 18, 14, 0. Among these 4 elements, which one is the minimum? 0 is the minimum. So 0 is the minimum. So you have to allocate 23, 49. Which is the minimum of 23 and 49? 23 is the minimum. So you have to allocate 23 here. So out of 49, I subtract 23 minus 49. So 49 minus 23. We are getting 26. Okay, so now you have to eliminate the second row because of that 23 is vanished. Now move on to step 2. The remaining elements. What are 21, 16, 25, 0, and the remaining elements 32, 27, 18, 0, 13, 41, 6, 10, 12 and 26. Okay. So likewise we did in the previous step. What we have done? So first you have to make the difference between least element and the next least element. So what is the least element? 0 is the least element and the next least element is 16. So 16 minus 0, 16. So what is the difference between 0 and 18? 18 is the least element. So 21 minus 32. What is the difference between 16 and 27? 11. So what is the difference between 18 and 25? 7 and 0. So among these differences, which one is the bigger, which one is the highest and which one is the maximum, whatever you like. So 18 is the highest difference among these. So we have to allocate, we have to choose that second row. Among the second rows, among these elements 32, 27, 18, 0, which is the minimum element? 0 is the minimum element. So we have to allocate 26. So 41, which is the minimum of 26, 41, 26 is to be minimum. 26 is the minimum element. So we have to allocate 26 and the subtract 41 minus 26. 15. 41 minus 26, 15. Okay. Okay. So you have to eliminate the last column, that is the fourth column. Why? Because 26 has to be eliminated. So now another step, step 3, 21, 16, 25, 0, 32, 27, 18, sorry, no 0. So 13, 15, 6, 10, 28. So what is the difference between these elements? So 16 minus 21, 5, 18 minus 27, 9, 21 minus 32, 11, 16 minus 27, 11, 18 minus 25, 7. Okay. So, compared to this, 11 is the highest difference. So, I select the first column, 21 is the minimum element. So you have to select, you have to allocate 6. A minimum of 6, 13, 6, and subtract 6, 13 minus 6 is 7. So you have to eliminate the first column. Step 4. So what is the difference between 16 and 25? 9. 18 minus 27? 9. 16 minus 27? 11. 25 minus 18? 7. So among these, 11 is the highest difference. So you have to select the first row, first column, which is the minimum. 16 is the minimum. So 7 is the minimum element out of this 3. So first row is to be vanished. Now the step 5, 27, 18. So 15, 3, 12. So 18 is the minimum. So 12, 3. 27, 3, 3. So therefore the initial basic feasible solution. What I did, what I told you in previous problem, you have to make multiply the cell value and the allocated value. So first 0 into 23 plus 0 into 26, 21 into 6 plus 7 into 16 plus 18 into 12 plus 27 into 3. The answer is 440. I hope you all understand that method of this method in transportation problem. We will see in the next method in next video. Thank you, girls.